So let's talk about everyone's favorite part of sales, the close. Show me the money, right? So we're gonna go over 3 of the best closing techniques that will help you close your next customer today. So there's so many people that they know how to sell, but they don't know how to close. See, they can sit there all day and they can sell someone on their product or service, but when it comes time to ask for the money, they choke up and get weird, and they usually talk themselves out of a sale. You know, money is one of those weird subjects that it just makes people uncomfortable to talk about. But if you just spent your entire sales pitch exhibiting confidence, it is a huge red flag if you are sheepish about asking for money for your product or service, especially if you just took the last 20 to 30 minutes explaining why it was worth all that money. Okay, so here's 3 different closing techniques that you can use to remain just as confident when it comes time to ask for the money. Number 1. Future-paced closing. So this technique, it helps your buyer envision their new and improved future with your product or service. Okay, it's a very simple technique, but it's very powerful because if you cannot get your buyers to see themselves with your product or service, they're not going to buy into it with their money. Okay, this is not some weird hocus pocus technique, all right? You're not gonna come off as strange or get them to do odd things like close their eyes and envision their future with the vacuum you're selling. Okay, that's weird. I would not buy anything from someone who did that. But what you are going to do is use subtle, future-paced closing language. Okay, you're making comments throughout the pitch and using words that indicate that they've already purchased it. Okay, when you properly future pace, your prospect has imagined at least a couple different scenarios of their life with your product or service throughout your pitch before you actually ask for the sale. Okay, so let's say you are selling all-inclusive cruise packages. At some point in your presentation, you could say, oh, and before I forget, try to at least be out on the dock once or twice in the morning as the sun is coming up. I can think of very few moments that were as amazing as watching the sunrise over the water. Okay, closing technique number 2, asking for and assuming the sale. Okay, one of the easiest ways to close is by simply asking for the sale while assuming. You can ask for the sale in various non-pushy ways that are intentional. You know, this is not a high-pressured sales tactic. This is just a natural way that the sales conversation ends. If your customer doesn't have to make a decision, then they won't. They're not going to. So, if you are going in for the close and you give the customer an option to say no, they'll say no. Stop asking if they're ready to buy today or do they want to wait, okay? Here's a proper way that you can use the assumptive close. All right, so this example I use a lot when there's multiple options for the customer to pick from. Okay, so I go in for the close and I assume that they will pick one or the other, and I frame my question that way. Okay, and what this also does is it still makes the customer feel like that they have some control, because they do have an option of which option that they want. And you win regardless of if they choose option A or option B. Okay, so are you thinking that you are just going to go with option A? Or did you think you might as well just go with option B today? Okay, notice the tone. I sound very smooth and relaxed, like this is the natural thing to do. Because clients don't choose the best option, they choose what they view as the least risky option. Okay, and now, number 3, this is what I call the wild card close. Okay, so this closing situation, it's gonna come at the end after your presentation or pitch. At this point, the client might be wondering, okay, so now what choices do I have? All right, and so as you are giving a few different options for moving forward, You can start to tailor to the option that you want them to choose by explaining the benefits that they'll miss out on by choosing option A or choosing option B instead of choosing option C. Now, if you have uncovered and resolved enough pain, you will reach the action point that a person needs to be at before they buy. But everyone is different. Okay, some people have a low action point. They're easy buyers. They're lay down sales. They're great. But some people have a high action point. Okay, so if at the end of your pitch, okay, at this point, the customer chooses to not take any action, to take no action, you will then proceed to explain to the customer the further pain that they will experience by not acting at this moment in time. Okay, this is the fourth hidden option, the wild card. Okay, so if you've been in sales for any time at all, you have gotten the dreaded objection, I want to think about it a little longer. And this third closing technique is how we handle that objection and close the sale. Okay, so after your presentation or pitch, if the customer chooses to take no action or says, I have to think about it, what you're going to do is you're going to proceed to explain to the customer the further pain that they will experience by not acting at this moment in time. Why? Because a human will only change when the pain of remaining the same has surpassed the pain of making a change. Okay, so we call this twisting the knife. So here's an example. In the chemical company I own, I have a product that helps farmers get the crops out of the ground faster. Okay, so what this means is that if it's raining or if it floods or anything happens while they're trying to plant, the plant will actually already be out of the ground quicker, so it's not going to affect the growing cycle. So if I'm at the end of my pitch and I'm going in for the close and the grower responds with, that sounds great, Ben, but let me think about it for a bit and I can call you back within a month. My response using the wild card close would be, hey Bob, I hear what you're saying, but I think we can both agree at this point that this is a great product that you need. And I will start to paint a picture of how the rain floods their fields and how for just a little bit of money, they can protect their crops. Okay, I'll start to go in detail and I'll basically say, don't you agree that it's worth spending just a little extra money to make sure that you don't have to deal with replanting or losing the crop altogether? The fourth option is something that you don't bring into the table until you have to. It's your wild card. This closing technique gives your prospect just that little nudge that they need to get into the water and avoid experiencing future pain that they had not previously considered. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe and let me know in the comments below what your biggest takeaway was and if there's a topic that you want me to cover in my next video. I'll see you next time.